You remember me?
No.
Welcome, friends, to another episode of the Second Age Show. My name is Strider, and here with me, I have some really cool folks. Hello, Kathy.
Hi, and happy holidays to everyone.
Harry. Hello, sir. Good evening and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Actually, it's Christmas Eve. So, yep.
Merry Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve to everybody. And we know this is kind of like our Christmas day, so to speak, because Strider, a gift is coming early, isn't it?
A gift is coming early indeed, or rather, it's coming exactly as we want to. And just a little quick mention, we have our good old friend Kyle just doing some things behind the scenes for us, keeping this engine running. So we thank you very much for that, and it's good to have you for this episode with us. So yeah, as Harry said, we have a very interesting present for you all here tonight, and yeah, let's just get right into it. If you have been following our clues, our poem so far, maybe you figured it out, or if not, Harry, let's go.
For sure. So, exclusive. Gabby Singh Chera will play Sauron in The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2, and he'll play the original form version of the character, which is meant to be, according to sources, angelic and ethereal. So yes, Gabby Singh Chera will be playing Sauron, or well, at least a version of Sauron, in Season 2.
There we go.
So interesting.
We got our shape-changing Sauron. Kathy, what do you think of this?
Okay, so first I want to congratulate the actor because from what I could see and find about him, this is his big break. And I just hope that he is going to have fun with it and won't take like internet comments too personally, because fans tend to be super passionate and forget that sometimes, like when they make very strong comments, they're actually commenting about real people, and that affects them. So just I want to say, Gabby Singh Chera, it's nothing personal. Almost everyone gets those comments, like it just might seem to you that, like it's aimed at you, but, like that's unfortunately how some fans roll. So that's one thing. Another thing is I know that a lot of fans really wanted to see the different forms of Sauron. So I'm happy for them. Personally, I'm not a fan of, like having different actors playing the same character because it strikes me gimmick a little bit, and also unintentionally or intentionally, it leads to some competition, like people like one version, don't like the other version. But I really hope that Amazon is not going to use that for something like a cliffhanger and mystery, who is going to make it into the season 3 or not, like because I don't want to repeat of The Walking Dead when they made a mystery about who Negan killed at the end of one season, like it made fans wait for the other season, like to find out if it was a character or somebody else, and it turned out it was boat. And in that moment, the show didn't just jump a shark, it jumped Sharknado. So I'm saying that, like with different versions of Sauron, don't make it mystery, like who's going to go into season 3, if it's one or all, or like whoever, like make it clear to fans, like because that's attached
Yeah.
to characters and also actors, like that I think, like is pretty underrated, but like there is a reason why, for example, Iron Man is so beloved, because it's RDJ, like Robert Downey Jr. plays him, like, and you have a lot of fans who are attached. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that I agree. We don't need those, as the internet likes to call them, mystery boxes. I think it's really cool that we are having to see one of the most iconic parts of Sauron, which is the fact that he can change shapes and that he uses this to manipulate people. We talked about this before when we were talking about our hopes for the show, and one of the most notorious things about Sauron is that he is a shape changer. Even though actually during the Lord of the Rings he lost the ability to change shape or like to have a nice form. So I think it's really interesting that we will have two actors who look nothing alike playing the same character. And I agree with Kathy that it might be very tricky in a way for both actors now, to especially for Gabby, because he's coming as the second one, to have this to be the same character without being the same character. Like it's going to be a very tricky task, and I'm looking forward to see how they will do this. But yeah, there's definitely risks. Hopefully, we do not get any crazy mystery with this that prolongs into third season. But Harry, how do you think they may go about this? Like two characters, like will they?
Well,
how do you think these two characters could make it work? Like, would they work together on creating this character?
We know they're both on the same set for this one day of filming. Doesn't mean that they would act whether they're in the same scene or not. We don't know, but we know they both also fight Adar and that's at different points. I think the Charlie Vickers one he filmed, it was probably for a flashback. But I just want to say from the get-go, for me, I'm quite excited for this in general, mainly for the fact that with Halbrand, it felt like he's gone to Region, he did his thing, he helped with 3 rings. I feel like we still want to see the Forging of the Other Rings, we still want to see the Anatar storyline, but how do you do it with Halbrand coming back when Galadriel and Elrond both know who he is? And then it'll just be really, really weird. It could have worked, but I just think this makes more sense. Where this was initially intentional from the showrunners, I don't know whether this was like always going to be their plan or whether they changed it. I don't know. Probably they thought about this beforehand, but I do think how it's going to work. I do hope we see him quite early. I believe he's in Eregion for episode 7 and episode 8, so we know that much. And he's most likely in it beforehand as well. Actually, that goes on into our next scoop in a bit as well, that we'll get onto. But maybe it'll be a scene where he shapeshifts from the Charlie Vickers form into the Sauron form. Maybe we won't see Charlie Vickers as Halbrand for a few episodes. Then maybe we may not see him for episode 7, episode 8, and then we have him in his other form. Or maybe, like, I don't know, they transform into each other, something along those lines. But yeah, I do think you'll see Halbrand, like, in the human villages, riling up support across. And maybe they don't know he is Sauron, but we do know he's given quite big speeches this season, and they're going to be quite strong and like a leader. So we have that. Maybe he does that for a few episodes, but then he maybe either decides to go to a Region or something, and then there's a shape-shifting scene, or maybe he tries to fight Sauron, or maybe there's a scene where he reminds Adar who he was, because maybe the Gavi Singh form was the form that he fought all those years back in the Northern Fortress in Frodorith.
Who are you?
So I think that's how I see it working. I think if I had to place a bet, it would be a shape-shifting scene where he changes from one form to another. And I hope the audience sees it early, and I hope the audience knows he is Sauron. I think season one, I think, Kathy, you're right in the sense that we did not... it was basically mystery box whole of season one. We don't need another Sauron mystery box. Who is Sauron? We know Gary Singh is playing a form of Sauron. And by the way, congratulations to him, because that's like one of like the top 3 villains of all time. I think that's a massive role. And yeah, no, again, like I said, it could be a pretty daunting thing, but yeah, that is very very exciting. So
I
so yeah,
just hope that Amazon is going to understand that fans don't like mystery boxes, and don't play with fans' feelings. They are attached to characters, they are attached to actors. They want to know, who is going to continue. So just make that clear. Don't make a mystery. Oh, we are going to release the information 3 days before the show. Is released. So just be clear on that. Because fans care. They care a lot.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the strengths also of television. Like, we do like a mystery. It's just, let's not have 15 mysteries going on at the same time, because one of the mysteries will be, I mean, people who are watching this, and I mean, it will probably be out there in like in 24 hours on the evening of the actual Christmas day. I think there already be like many websites talking about this, and people will know this is him. But then again, I think for a lot of viewers who will come into the second season not knowing much about what's happening, I think it will be a cool experience for them to see Sauron manipulating people. But there are several ways you can do it. Like the crowd, the people can know, like the viewers can know, and the characters do not. Or like they can do they can do it this way, or they can do it the way where nobody knows, which then, I don't know, depending on how they do this reveal, it might be cool. I mean, obviously people who came here for this video, they will they are here for the spoilers anyway. But I think it can be interesting. It's just that they don't overdo it, which is something that they kind of did in the first season. We had a lot of mysteries that went on. But I wanted to say regarding this being Gavi's first role, I mean, absolutely, this is huge. Sauron is one of the greatest villains of all time in literature. We did talk about how casting Sauron is the most important casting of the show, basically, because the story, where you have heroes and villains, often is only as good as the villain, because if the villain is not good, if the villain is not a quality character with strong motivations, with a lot of agency, without being someone who moves the plot forward in a really cool way, then the show has a very big risk of being bad. So casting Sauron is really important, and casting Gavi as this role must mean that they have a lot of faith in him, and I hope and I wish that he does end up nailing this role. That would be really cool.
He looks angelic, when we received the information that, Sauron is going to look angelic, we immediately knew, from all the announced cast that it had to be him, he looked so, he had that, look on the publicity photo. I'm like, yeah, it gotta be him. And then, we've heard from several sources that in fact it is him. So
Harry, do you want to say something, or do we skip to the next one?
I've got 2 things. I think first off, I just think if in season 2 we just get Gabi Singh in his Sauron, or do I dare say Anatar form, just being Sauron in Eregion, fooling Celebrimbor, fooling the elves, I genuinely think if we just get that and him being like that, fans will be happy. If they don't do a thing where it's like, oh, who is this guy? And it's meant to be nobody's meant to know who he is, and this guy's not Sauron, which I do generally think is going to be straight up that this is Sauron. But I just hope, Amazon, I should say Amazon, JD and Patrick, don't go that way. But because we had that in season 1, we should say. But Also, I think Strider, of course, the show often gets some flack and for like, oh, it's not much about the law, they're not following canon, whatever. Even that is a highly debatable phrase in itself. Tell us though, with this Gabi Singh Chera as this original Sauron form, how does it work in the lore? So where is it coming from? Is it, of course, we know with the Forging of the Ring. So how does it all fit together? And does the shape-shifting make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Sauron is one of his greatest. I mean, so Sauron is called the Deceiver. That's one of the attributes given to him by the Free Peoples. Sauron the Deceiver, and one of his favorite ways of deceiving people is by creating images or changing shape to deceive people, and that's what he did in the Silmarillion. For example, we have an instance. It's not clear whether he took this form or he just created the illusion that a character saw, but he created an image of one character's wife in order to lure the character. His name was Gorlim, and he then captured Gorlim and forced him, or deceived actually him, into giving the information in exchange for being reunited with his wife. And then it's unclear. That's something that fans debate. Like, did Sauron just create an illusion that Gorlim saw, or did he also take the actual form of this woman for this quick bit while he lures the character? That's what he does. And also him changing shapes is another thing that happens a bit later in the Silmarillion, in the story of Beren and Luthien, because he takes the shape of a huge wolf, or this weird form of werewolves that Tolkien has. He fights Huan, one of the legendary dogs of Valinor, who is protecting Luthien from the story of Beren and Luthien. Well, basically one of the most important characters Tolkien wrote. And as he's fighting Huan, this dog pins him by his neck, and then Sauron is changing his shape to different shapes. Like, he turns into from a wolf to a serpent, then I think to a bat, and so on. But he's unable to leave. He's unable to shake off Huan. But it is something that he does. And another thing that we should bear in mind, because we have a reference here to him being angelic or ethereal, is that he used to be one of the Maiar. He is one of the Maiar. He is actually the most gifted of all the Maiar, these angelic spirits that also Sauron and Gandalf and Radagast are, and Balrogs used to be. And as such, their natural form isn't actually corporeal. They do not have a body. So when these spirits come to the actual world, the material world, they take the bodies that represent them, and then they use those bodies. But Sauron, as we said, has been notorious for using different bodies, and he used to be known as, his original name was Myron, which means the Admirable One, and later on he got the name Sauron and some other names as well. So definitely in the lore, he is known to change shapes, and one of actually the most famous occasion where he does change his form and like the way he looks like is actually indeed when he goes to Eregion. He takes the form of Anatar. He actually first goes to Lindon, offers his services to Gil-galad, and he is then refused entrance to Lindon by Gil-galad and Galadriel, and I think Elrond as well. They do not trust him, but then he goes to Eregion as Anatar and becomes the best friend of Celebrimbor, basically. They start working because Sauron used to be a Maiar who served Aule, who is the Valar of, he's the craftsman of the gods. So Sauron, from his origins, is someone who also was very crafty. That's literally one of his other big distinctions of his character. So he takes this other form. He calls himself Anatar, which means Lord of Gifts. He comes to Eregion and offers his knowledge as a gift to Celebrimbor, who, not knowing who this person is because he wasn't able to discern what was beyond this image that Sauron created, takes him up on his offer, and then spent several hundred years crafting the rings. So the question here is, will we see Gavi playing Sauron only maybe in some of the flashback scenes, perhaps, which we're gonna come to in a second, or will we see him only in the flashback scenes, or will we also see him in the present day in Eregion? Speaking of which, maybe I should go on to the second exclusive, and then we can discuss all of this together. So, exclusive number 2 for the evening is in flashback scenes, original form Sauron, played by Gavi Sinchera, will have long hair, and in present-day scenes in Eregion, he appears to have shorter hair. So,
Interesting.
yeah. Kathy, what do you think of Gavi with long and short hair?
Okay, so
how do you think maybe that could also
we don't know how much
shorter. Yeah. So how do you think maybe could this point his character to one or the other character arc or something like that?
Okay, so I'm super happy that long versus short hair discourse is back on the menu, and I'm going to give you proof that short hair is not a bad thing as you think. So bear with me for a second. Okay, so now we reported previously that original form Sauron is going to wear black and gold, right? So. Now, watch this. Okay.
Ooh, wow.
So this is black and gold, my villain Dark Lord color. And this is short hair. This is your Dark Lord Sauron. Okay. All right. And I don't think it looks bad at all. I'll leave you, to your comments, if this is bad, but, I don't think it is. So I don't mind, short hair. I'm short hair myself, and I kind of got used to short hair from the show. And besides, we know that elves have long hair, in the books and Peter Jackson's movies, but we don't know what the Valar and Maiar look like, right? So they can have short hair. Sauron can have any hair he wants, so I have
he can look any way he wants.
Yeah, I keep an open mind. So.
Fair enough.
So
very good point.
Thank you for showcasing that for us as well. I think, you did show that it can work with shorter ear hair. So yes. Also, I was about to mention as well the black and gold. We're going to see him in armor as well. That's going to be
okay, perfect.
Black and gold.
I should have gotten armor as well.
Next episode.
Okay, so for the next time, you have to get an armor.
So you need to get the whole helmet as well, everything. You just need the whole. But I think I also confirmed as flashback scenes, but I think we were expecting that anyways. It'll be interesting if this flashback scene, and also know it includes Adar, if it's one of the first things we see in episode 1, because that would be very good, I think, in my opinion, to get off to a strong start like that.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they go with this already established technique, I guess, that in Middle-earth adaptations that Peter Jackson did, like every movie, I believe. I'm not sure about all the Hobbit movies, but I do think that actually all the 6 movies do start with some kind of like a framing device, whether it's like a dream or a vision or just an actual prologue that we have. Like, I don't know about I'm not sure about all the Hobbit movies. I think they also have all 3 have something.
Bilbo writes the book, and
that's in the first one, but I'm not sure about the second and the third one. I think. I think the second one has the dwarves.
Yes, and Smaug attacking. Yes, Yeah.
That's the second one, I think. So, and the third one, I think the third one does start in medias res. I think that's the only one that doesn't have like a proper intro or some sort of like a flashback. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if all the seasons of the show do have some kind of intro prologue type of thing, because there is so much lore, so many things that have been happening and that had happened in the past, that do have impact on the present day of the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that. And especially, I think they did say in some of the interviews after the first season that in the second season we will get to learn and know more about Sauron. So Harry, I think your theory might end up being right very easily, that we might see maybe some flashback season where Adar kills this form of Gavi, or like this form of Sauron that is played by Gavi, and then maybe present day we see Halbrand again, and then some time later in the show, maybe we don't even know. Maybe we don't see the scene where the shift happens with Halbrand and the original form Sauron, but then we see Halbrand, and then maybe he's gone for 2 episodes, and then we come to Region, and then this character played by Gavi shows up, and he's just like, "Hi, I'm Anatar." Maybe that's something that happens, but yeah, that would be interesting to see.
It makes sense to me that we are going to see flashback, like that Gavi is original form, and then see him in present day as original form, because I guess that they are still characters that need to see that Halbrand and original form are actually the same guy. So how they're going to do it with, like shape shifting or whatever, it's up to the creatives. But it's important, in my opinion, to, do that transition and show, yes, this is actually what he looks like. This is a deceiving form, and this is again, what he originally is, what's his primary form, how he was during Morgoth's era. I suppose that Sauron in that funny armor is with crown, and is actually Gavi, right? Yeah.
And not to forget, we did actually already see 2 forms of Sauron, because in the introduction we did see Sauron in his tall metal armor figure. Yeah, so we already actually did see 2 forms of him, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that's the form we also end up seeing again in the at the end of the show when we come to the Battle of the Last Alliance. So I think it's safe to say that Sauron will have. Well, now we hope. Now I think we can safely say he will have several forms, because we know at least for 3. We have Halbrand, we have the original one, and we have the one in the armor. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think this is also one of the trickier things to pull off. So it would be interesting if. Also, it serves another point. If we do have a flashback scene, I mean, Kat basically just kind of said that. I'll just try to maybe rephrase it again. So, opening the show or showing at some point a flashback scene of this original form, of this angelic form, and then we come back to the present day, and then we see this form again later. Showing it the first time for the first time in some sort of a flashback gives you the show don't tell. Okay, they showed us he had this form before, and then when we see him again in this form, it's okay, yeah, it makes sense because they set it up already. So if they open the season with this scene, it fits perfectly, because then we know for later, okay, yeah, he had different forms in the past as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think it will be interesting to see whatever that flashback scene will be. And also one thing we'd like to put on screen right now, which is on screen right now, is the puzzle. And here is the answer. I'm sure first I want to say well done to Stride, who came up with the 13 Days of Christmas. Yeah. All the lines are there. And as you can tell, it's spelled "Hi, I am Anatar." Of course, this is recorded beforehand, so we don't know if someone got it or not. But yeah, if you did, here you go. This is what the 13 Days of Christmas was about. If anybody guessed it, it was I think Stride had the good idea of capitalizing one letter in each word, and we scrambled it up and to see if anybody could see that. And also in the trailer, in the teaser as well video, if you look before Celebrimbor says his last line of true creation requires sacrifice, there's 7 short clips of characters. I think it's Arondir, Nori, Arondir, Theo, Arondir, and Revion.
Yeah.
And that's Anatar as well. So those are our two little few clues to see if anybody
Yeah.
would get
Yeah. I'm just happy when as I was making this, and then I was discussing this with all of you and with Kyle as well, and we were talking about this, and then the first idea was, "Hi, I am Anatar." It would fit
Yeah.
as well, but then I was like, "Hey, maybe there are actual Elvish words," and then it turns out that you can say, "Hail, I am Anatar," in this
Yeah.
short way that you can see on in the puzzle now. So, and then we decided to jumble the capital letters so that it doesn't just spell out, right? Hi, I'm Sauron.
Yeah.
I'm Anatar. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how many or who got it. How many did they get it right away? Or but
Or
anyway,
if you made
it was a
it
lot of
too
fun doing
hard or
this.
not hard enough. Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
But
And
it was cool, and we hope we enjoyed. At least it was a nice poem. That was also,
yeah.
it's still a cool Lord of the Rings poem, so it's a win-win anyway.
Imagine we're saying all this now and it was just cracked like a week ago beforehand, or like some
Yeah.
crazy person just got it straight away. That'd be funny, but oh well. So,
But hey, why not? Kudos to them.
Yeah. So just one final thing would be that I also want to say this is a whole thing, was a whole big team effort for this reveal, and of course we saved it best till last, because this, I think, I know it's just simply it is just us revealing an actor playing a character, but the Rings of Power is called Rings of Power. Sauron helped create the Rings of Power. He's the villain who transcends this story, because he's also in the Lord of the Rings. He's the main villain there, and he's also the main villain there. I think you already said before, he is the most important character in this story. So this might just be, I know, say for example, you reveal who's playing Celeborn, or when we're going to reveal who's playing Círdan, etc. It's just, okay, these are roles, that's important, but so much of this second season now falls, of course, I don't want to put too much pressure on to Gavi, because first role and everything like that, and just coming out of just graduating, but a lot of it does fall on this shapeshifting and with this original Sauron form, and which actually we should coin the term Gaviron. That's a
Right,
it's not,
real
I forgot
Gaviron,
who
it's
made
out there
that.
now.
Yeah, Gaviron, and then yeah, so much where it falls. It is, I said, one of the biggest villains in literature, so it is important. That's all the portrayal is correct. We're going to see a unique version of Sauron. We're not getting a flaming red eye, but we're not getting a guy in, well, even though we've seen armor with a helmet on, we're not seeing a guy with the big spike. We are not seeing a person from the first age. We are seeing him in his most cunning disguise. So along with that, hopefully we'll get a portrayal that matches that, and it'll be quite exciting, because I know one of the things people say the most when they thought about this show was having Anatar in Aragon, and it looks like hopefully we'll be getting a version of that. So yes, that's my final piece on it, and good luck. I think it will be quite exciting.
I would like to just add one bit, or just like expand on one thing that you said. It's a team effort. It's like Fellowship of Fans is a pretty big community. We have like several dozen people doing their bits for Fellowship of Fans. People handling the social media, all the people who have ever been on our videos, they have taken their time out of their lives to just join us and do something with us here. A lot of people working on all in these discussions, on planning of these things, getting some ideas together, bouncing off of each other. We have
and we have the man behind the curtain as well.
Exactly. Yeah. We have Kyle doing this, and he is one of the people who have been here early.
Promo work as well.
Nick is doing now with videos, and like there's a lot of people who really do a lot of this. So we just come here and talk. I mean, at least on my part, but there's a lot of people who write text. That's the one I forgot. Like, there's a lot of people. Like, you can check our website. There's a lot of cool stuff there. A lot of like meta stuff, but also a lot of lore stuff. And it's written by fans who like this and who know a lot about Tolkien. So there's a lot of cool things going on in Fellowship Fans, and it's because there's a lot of people around. There are even people like wanting the chat and so on. So yeah, thanks to all of them, and a huge shout out to all of them, and a huge thank you for doing everything they do.
Yeah, couldn't say that any better. So yeah, I think, Kathy, do you have anything fun to say? If not, I think
I think this was a perfect, ending. Like Strider really said everything, like you and Strider really nailed it, and credited, like all the people that should be credited. And, I have nothing to say, but, well done.
You've said that now. That means we have to go. You've only credited. We have to go credit everybody now. Well, even if your name wasn't mentioned, you still did. You still did an amazing job. For example, do we have to do that now? So thank you to V for doing all the Twitter stuff. Thank you to Frank for the articles. Thank you for Ostrowando for doing the write up the piece. Thank you to Ulmo for doing the editing for the video. Thank you to Nick Kyle, of course, Penguin, for always being the person just always behind the scenes, putting a lot of work in as well. Who else? Of course, thank you to Hen as well, and Nikki, everybody else.
Working.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many people, it's hard to mention everybody.
So yeah, comment everybody. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody, and we'll hopefully see you guys for end of year stream as well, New Year's stream, hopefully. So yeah, I think Strider, do you want to round us out?
Yeah. Also, thanks to you, Harry and Kathy. Thank you for being here with me tonight. That's all, folks, for this year with our second 8 shows. We will be back in the New Year's as well. We'll be doing a lot of cool stuff in New Year, and also regarding War of the Rohirrim, if you're interested in that animated movie that's coming out next year, basically just a bit over a year. Actually, by the time this airs, slightly less than 1 year. So on the 13th of December next year, War of the Rohirrim comes out. We had some videos on that with all the information that is out so far. There will be a lot of cool stuff, so join us in the New Year as well. And thank you for listening. We're looking forward to seeing your comments and your theories. Please share, like, follow, subscribe, all the things that you're supposed to do with every YouTube channel ever. And Merry Christmas, and see you next time.